Hey, I'm Korelin. Thanks very much for joining me. We are shooting video at the San Francisco International Investment Conference's Hard Asset Conference. This, I think, is one of the greatest venues, and it certainly is one of the best conferences of this nature, I would have to say, in the United States. I like it because it gives me the opportunity to catch up with old friends, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Greg Johnson is with me. I've known Greg for a lot of years. His company is South American Silver. We have invested in the past in South American Silver. They were beginning to work in Bolivia when we were involved with them. It's my understanding now that you've increased the scope a bit. You're now doing some work in Chile also, so bring me up to speed if you would. Give me your typical overview description of what South American Silver is all about. Absolutely. As of today.
Yeah, so the company was IPO'd in 2007.
Right.
That first year in 2008, we developed a 100 million ounce silver resource. We've now grown that to 370 million ounces, making it one of the largest undeveloped silver resources in the world. We still think there's a lot of room to grow that. We've moved the project from a preliminary economic assessment stage into a pre-feasibility stage, which is what we're working on now on that project. So that remains our leading project.
Sure,
and a big one, and we think there's a lot of potential. The update that we put out on the engineering on that showed we were going to produce about 13 million ounces a year, which makes it one of the biggest silver producing projects in the world. And the project comes along with two technology metals, indium and gallium, which are going to the flat panel display business. And there's been a lot of interest in that side because we may represent as much as 10% of the global market for those metals, which are rapidly growing, and people need to find new sources of supply. Recently, however, I just got back from Chile. We had our board of directors down on our second asset, which has been earlier stage. But we're going to have drills arriving soon on our project in central Chile. It's right next door to El Teniente, which is the world's largest underground copper mine. And we've got a tremendous copper, silver, gold asset down there. It's got historic drilling in it. It has been worked on since the late 90s. It's been held privately. And this will be the first opportunity for a company to come in and really determine how big this is. So.
Drills aren't there yet, but what are the plans for 2012?
Well, we've already opened up the roads. We've relogged the historic core. We've resampled the cores. A lot of it was only sampled for copper and moly, and we've gone back in and done a full suite so we know what we've got to work with. We've done a bunch of surface work, trenching and sampling at surface to understand what we have. And we've flown two very comprehensive geophysical surveys over the project that can look deep into the earth and tell us whether or not we have porphyry-related intrusives. So we're quite excited about that, the results of that study.
Sure.
We'll have drills probably arriving mid-December and starting to crank up by January and look to carry out a pretty significant drill campaign. It's going to deliver us a first resource estimate on the project, which we think will be meaningful and be able to give us a good flow of news into the spring and be very complementary to the work that we're doing at Malku Khota, the large silver-indium project in Bolivia.
You know, you and I have spent a lot of time in the past talking about the situation in Bolivia, the political situation. A lot of investors who aren't familiar with that particular area have some real trepidation, but you convinced me, based on a lot of the conversations that we talked about that you had with senior governmental officials down there, that Bolivia is no problem.
Well, I mean, it's a developing economy.
Well, yeah.
It's so anytime, and in mining, this is very common that we're working in some fairly challenging locations. But this is a place that's the second largest sector after oil and gas is mining. You've had 3 major new mines built down there by large companies in the last 4 years in the silver space. The 3rd largest silver producing mine in the world is there with Sumitomo.
Right.
You've got Coeur d'Alene's second largest asset.
Right.
People think of them as an American company, but their second biggest mine is in Bolivia.
Sure.
And you've got Pan American Silver, a name brand in silver, who's also operating down there. So this is a place where mines are being built. There's a long history of mining, and we think there's a tremendous opportunity in terms of looking at exploration projects and development of our own project.
You know, I have to tell you, I mean, I've always thought that was the case. Now that you're getting as active as you are, Greg, down in Chile, you know, that's just the icing on the cake, in my opinion.
To me, it gives us 2 projects that are solid projects advancing. You know, this is really adding value as we advance these projects from resource stage through the engineering phase and towards construction decisions. And with the second asset, to me, it really underpins the value of the first one, and it gives us a growth asset that can come in and add new ounces very rapidly, new pounds of copper very rapidly, and add shareholder value. And that's really, you know, the point of the business.
That's exactly the point of the business, and Greg has done it before. He's doing it again. There's a forward-looking statement, but you know what? I know this guy's history and he's very, very good in the industry. Don't construe this as being investment advice. I'm not a registered investment advisor, and neither is Greg, but you know what? It's a company worth looking at. Thank you so much.
Thanks, good to be back.